Welcome to Inside the Upside Down, where we're talking about ghosts are people too and how we build rapport with spirits while we are investigating the paranormal. Coming up next. Welcome to Inside the Upside Down. I have no idea what that sound was over there.
I don't know.
It sounded really strange. It sounded like someone was leaning against the door or fell. I don't know what that was. Our studio is haunted.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are talking about our ghost. Well, no, not our ghosts, but ghosts are people too. Not even a question. Ghosts are people too. Like straight up, they are people. And how we build that rapport with them while we are out there on those paranormal investigations. And how I think that we develop a pretty good relationship with these spirits. And over time, they react to us a lot better than just trying to go out there and, shoot from the hip. And you see a lot of these investigators make demands, make a noise, slam a door, hit me. Some people will say, stupid shit like that. So, and we've expressed a lot of opinions about this on this show before. But I thought we would do like an entire show just kind of focused on this because we get asked these questions throughout a number of our other shows. And it's like, we get asked enough questions about it. We comment enough about it. Let's kind of focus on how we actually go into an investigation and, we make the investigation about them, that we're there to try to communicate with them, that we're not trying to make them do tricks or what have you, treat them like guinea pigs, that sort of thing, that we're truly trying to communicate with them, become friends, and, learn more about them.
Yeah. I mean, they're literally people still. Some of the stuff that you're going to be dealing with is not an intelligent energy, but the ones that are deserve to be talked to, not at. And, it does get frustrating sometimes because you want something to happen. You've pulled out all the stops, have tried everything, and still nothing. Maybe you just haven't found what's going to grab their attention. And it's probably going to be something so stupid and subtle, that's why sometimes for me, there have been times whenever I've tried to, there's a little bit of coaxing, you have to explain, this is me, this is where I am, this is where we're at, this is what I want to know, whenever you feel comfortable talking to me, if you feel comfortable talking to me, just let me know. Can you knock on something? Instead of just, asking them to perform stupid pet tricks, explain to them why you're asking them this request. Could be, hey, it's dark in here. I can't tell where you're at in the room. For some reason, I cannot see you with the naked eye. I need you to let me know where you're at, please. The word please.
Please goes a long way. Just like it does in this life, it goes a long way in the afterlife too.
And if something happens, thank you.
Yeah. Yep. And Bree Jones is saying, love that, deserve to be talked to, not at.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, definitely. We've noticed, I personally noticed, as time goes by, everywhere we go, I get some type of interaction. Sometimes it's just me that's getting it, and I feel like, well, should I blow it off? No, I shouldn't just blow it off because it could be something, but I don't have any proof, and in this field, that's the quest, for proof. You have to find proof, that the paranormal exists and stuff like that. How do you prove that you're not a fraud, that you're not just making stuff up? So it's a mix of, do I care, that we have like the mother load of EVPs or something like that, and hurry, let's get it out there.
Yeah, well, and I think that's where a lot of this stems from is, while the shows have done, at least early on, a good job of making people more aware of that there is legit paranormal activity going on out there. It's helped people to come forward with their stories rather than just, shy away from it because people might think they're crazy. It's made people's experiences become more acceptable, but it's also created this environment in that, people who investigate want to be able to put out the latest and greatest, best evidence. They want to put out like the video, the EVP, whatever that's going to make everybody go, oh wow, now I believe. And so they end up concentrating more on that, more on the evidence side of it, rather than the fact that we're communicating with somebody.
Yeah, just like the Voices of Mineral Springs episode on the channel, where we're asking questions, try an experiment per Lee Ehrlich. Thank you, Lee. And it works. And not only does it work, but you're able to hear the voices out loud, and then live in real time, where you're able to see, yes, we heard those. And yes, those words were actually there. To the point where I myself was a skeptic and had to go check it out to make sure something wasn't messing with us. Because as much as we want to show proof, we also have to debunk. Not everything is going to be paranormal.
Yeah, imagine this. Somebody shows up at your door with this huge camera, lights shining in your face, and says, all right, I want you to say something right now, and slam on your door. How do you think you're going to react? You're going to be like,
screw this
no.
loser, I'm out of here.
Yeah. You might slam the door in their face, but I mean, you're not going to have a positive reaction to that. A lot of these spirits do believe that they're actually still in their environment. They're in their home. Many of them have no idea that they're actually dead. So we never mention that. That's a rule that we stay away from. So, we treat it like we're going in there and it's like, oh, hey, how's it going? How you doing? So, I'm Mike. This is Shana. It's a pleasure to meet you. We're very, pleasant and friendly, going in there, because we do legitimately want to become friends with these people that are there and learn more about their time and era, the things that went on at the location back when they were around, even if we don't ever present it at like, hey, back when you were alive, how did this place look or whatever. We might ask something like, I can't see very well, or I'm having a little trouble here. How does this place look to you, or something like that, or how do you see us? And there's some questions already down here in the chat, and I see Donna Gordon say, I'd react with a fuck off as I kick them out. Yeah. Exactly. You kick them right off your front porch if somebody came to you like that. It's ridiculous. So, and Judy Wilson, asking, do you ever ask them if they can see you? So,
yeah, I do. I'd be like, right now, it's like being in the dark and you can't see anything. I can tell that you're in the room, but I don't know where. I can't see you. It's like, I explain, paint them a picture, let them know, what it's like for you. I can't see you. I don't know if it's because I'm not supposed to, or because you don't want me to see you. I would like to, get to meet you, and if you want to explain, if you want to go a step further and explain why you have all these lights and cameras and stuff like that, maybe they're camera shy. Maybe the device that you're using wasn't something that they're familiar with, so they're scared of it. So then you have to paint them a picture, tell them this is what this is and this is what it does. And if they're camera shy, be like, I have this, don't be afraid of it, don't be scared, don't be shy. It's just that, if I do get to see you, I want it to be something that I can see again. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, ghosts are people too, but they're also people from their time era, and while maybe some have observed the current world and understand that some things are different, they may not understand the technology that you're putting in front of them. So talking to the red light, they might not even understand what a light is. If they're from like 1700s, something like that, I mean, sure, they know what fire is. They might know what a lantern is or a torch, something like that. But just saying, talking to the red light, it might go right over their heads. I've seen people say, can you make the K2 meter light up?
Stop asking that.
I'm not going to have any idea.
For real. If you're one of those people that asks that, stop asking that.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, and not trying to get into a device episode, because we've had those. But you have to keep in mind the era that these people are from, because otherwise you're just going to totally confuse them. Sean Oldsmith asks, is the investigator getting scratched, pissing the ghost off, and when team leaves it, hypes up activity? That's a good question, because I don't think people get scratched every time that they happen to piss somebody off.
Nope. Sometimes you get furniture thrown at you. I mean, I didn't try to piss anybody off, but sometimes activity like that happens. I've been scratched. It didn't have 3 marks, and it wasn't a demon, but sorry. Sometimes, like if you have a toddler trying to get your attention and they haven't had their nails clipped in a while and they scratch you, it could just be someone trying to get your attention. Just because, if you don't feel like this burning desire to run or burst into flames or feel like, all hell's about to open up on you, it's probably not a demon. It could just be a human spirit that scratched you trying to get your attention and maybe didn't realize they were going to scratch you. You have to, I think I don't think that I've ever experienced anything evil or demonic or anything, because I feel like I'd know if I did. So, but yeah, I've been scratched before. I've been grabbed hard enough to leave marks.
Well, and I've also wondered sometimes if some of those scratches aren't that, maybe they're an accident. Maybe they're just trying to, poke you, and they have no idea that the difference between their realm and our realm, and it comes off that way. Right. I mean, are there spirits or entities out there that are trying to harm you? Sure, that happens. But I won't say every time. Like this one from Tom. Why is it that the Tom McNicholas? Why is it that Shana always is kind, but yet she gets poked a lot? They're not always bad pokes.
No, there's good pokes.
They kind of startle you sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes they just come from out of nowhere. Sometimes I have a heads up that something's coming close, and then it doesn't shock me as much. I feel like, oh, I just got touched. I kind of feel like that's probably going to happen. I expect it to happen, but sometimes it just catches me off guard. Sometimes I have to think about, did I get poked? Or maybe my hair fell down and brushed against, or maybe, a muscle spasm. Maybe it was a muscle spasm, So I think I'm internalizing it, trying to debunk it, and then it happens again. I'm like, okay, that's probably not any of those other scenarios. And then, a good firm grab, I sometimes wonder if they can hear me rationalizing it away, and they're like, no, bitch, listen, trying to get your attention. I think that's why that happens.
I think you get poked a lot because you're just so damn beautiful. Schmooze in here. Yep. Yeah, so this is a good question from Judy Wilson. If a spirit asks you to help them, have they ever told you how they can help them? So I've had that happen at the Fairy Plantation, and we're going to have Acid Paranormal on next week on Edge of the Rabbit Hole, talk about Fairy Plantation. But this is one of my more profound experiences while investigating, because you've heard me say how many times I never claimed to be anything, but I've had a number of cases where I've been sensitive, and this was one of those cases in which things were happening to me and coming into my head, like what happens with psychic mediums, the way that like Vanessa's always explained it to me. And in fact, I talked to her after this incident. I had to give her a call and say, okay, is this really what happens to you? Because that was in the best parlor, and I was talking about the layout. They had it set up as a wake. So they had a mock body that was sitting out there. They have all these beautiful morning gowns, all set up all over the place, which is fantastic. And basically, what I was being fed, because I was asking about the display. Well, basically, what I was being fed was that, and it was a woman, that she did not like the display that was set up there. That there are, while yes, wakes and funerals were held there in the parlor, that it wasn't all the time, and there were a lot more happy memories that happened in that parlor than sad memories. And I did get a really, really strong EVP. You can hear it clear as a bell, right at that time, that says "help me." And it coincided right with my questioning, right with the things that I was being fed. And there was actually a kind of white band of light across the room above that body at the time. So there was like so many things going on at that time. So I did relay the message. I'm not the one that runs the fairy plantation, but I gave that to Heather Moore, who was heading up the place at the time, and just let her know, hey, this is what happened. You're not liking the setup here. So the last couple of times I've been there, it hasn't been set up. So and there we go. Yeah, Greg Grinkin's comments. If I was commanded to do a trick, I would say, sure, right after you go fuck yourself.
That would come in handy on some TV shows.
Yeah, it would.
I feel like the TV shows have gotten to where they are because of the way that network TV is expecting these people to perform. And I think
wants
that
a demon these days.
they have to make stuff up and create paranormal activity because the way that they're going about it is wrong. And I think that some of them, somewhere along the way, have just stopped caring about that. They're just in it for the paycheck, and it is what it is. So that's why I'm not on board with any of those shows. I mean, I know what it is. The theory behind it is real. Paranormal activity happens, but it doesn't happen on demand. And if it doesn't happen on demand, then you have to make it happen on demand if you're expected to keep your show on TV. So
I always say that just like in real life, as well as while we're investigating, put yourself, in the other person's shoes when you're doing that interaction. How would you feel if you were being asked that or told this, or if somebody was making demands of you? The whole treat people the way you want to be treated. The same thing goes with paranormal investigations. You see some of these, some of the ridiculous questions sometimes that are you evil? Okay. If somebody asks you, are you evil? How would you answer that question? Like, are you kidding me?
It's like, do you want me to show you?
Well, and a lot of quote unquote evil people don't believe that they're actually being evil. They have an agenda. There's something that they, want to do, and in their head, they think it's the right thing.
Yeah.
God, I hate to throw it out there, but I don't believe Hitler thought he was evil. As crazy as he freaking was, and as evil as he actually was, he believed he was doing the right thing. So if you asked him, hey, Adolf, if his spirit happened to be there, hey, Adolf, are you evil? No, he's not gonna, he would not say, yeah, of course. No. Even with all those atrocities, So, I heard something moving around over there again.
Is that wind, maybe?
Maybe.
It's windy and there's snow on the ground again.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that windy, but there's definitely snow. Maybe it's wind. Maybe we have a raccoon in here. I don't know. Because it's big. Whatever it is. Somebody asked earlier if our studio is haunted, and no, unless Zara. Zara, are you haunting the studio here?
Zara's across the room
She's
with
over
two
there.
of her future painted faces that I'm going to be painting, and Ghosty goes to sit with the three of them to keep them safe.
Yeah, Tim Schoen is sitting there asking, is the studio haunted? Pat Kraft is saying, full body apparition in the studio. Yes. Mm-hmm. I know. What we're hearing is over there by the door, though. So, maybe some strong wind is kicking up and blowing under the seal. I don't know.
I have seen the little ball of light in here, the twinkles. I've seen those in here. I don't see that as a haunting so much as I see it as an attachment, a guide, a something, because it goes everywhere. So I can't just say, well, it's a haunting.
Greg Rentgen is saying, my sarcastic self would say, yes, I am evil. And, we do see that where, people will, be asking questions about, who are you, that sort of thing. And
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman, yeah. But they'll get a response of demon from somewhere, and immediately it's not a demon. Once you get a response, demon, you know it's not.
No, someone messing with you.
Yeah. So Donna Gorton says Adam Tillery is lurking. Of course he is. Of course Tillery is lurking. So I guess we have to get him some sort of shout out. So, he put this banner thing together. So there you go, Adam. So, yeah, Donna Gorton is saying that Greg has an evil side. Okay. Yeah, and Sharon, spirits can have a sense of humor. They do, sure.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. We've gotten some, like that one at Beardstown with the laugh. He was laughing at what you were saying.
Yeah, he was laughing. Because we didn't feel anything evil or demonic, but it was straight out of a scary movie haunted house laugh, though. It was so... Yeah, it was funny. I was like, it had like the echo, the wah, ha, ha, ha. It was awesome. A great capture. Did hear, something going on, before it came out. And it is super funny, that laugh, whenever I look back. I do want to go back.
He was having a good time. He was getting a kick out of, you basically threatening if there was a human coming up into there that shouldn't have been in the building. So Kelly McCarville down there saying, they have personalities for sure. Yeah, and that's, something you keep in mind while you're investigating. Just everybody has their own different personality, and so us, spirits in the afterlife also have their own different personalities, and so that's kind of one of the tricks while you're investigating is trying to figure out who's who and why they're feeling different ways, and how you can best approach them. You're going to approach, just as in life, a sad little girl different than like the jovial man who's laughing and having a good time. So you always have to keep those things in mind. Tom McNicholas, wondering who will be the first person that claims they contacted President Bush. You mean Steve Huff hasn't already?
Hasn't he? It's coming.
It's coming. Yeah, expect that, of course.
Next week, maybe.
Yeah. I don't even want to go there because that's just all kinds of ridiculousness. But so from Christine Jones, do you work early in the morning after you do these shows? Yes.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Shana gets to sleep in a little bit. She goes to work later that day and then works her ass off.
Not lately. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I've been getting up at 5:40 in the morning.
Oh, yes, you have been. Yes, you have been.
And then I get up again at 7:30.
Right.
And then I try to sleep till noon. I've been trying not to do that, but I work from 2 to 10, and I got to drive 40 minutes to get there. So I got to get some sleep.
Yeah. And I'm up by 6:30 in the morning. That's when I start. So actually my alarm goes off at 6:15. And so, yeah, and after the shows, we have a number of different things that we have to do. Got to add the end screens and the cards, and I'm gonna have to fix the beginning of the Edge of the Rabbit Hole video. So add the tags in the right way. So there's a lot of different video cleanup stuff that has to be done after the shows, and so we go to bed super late, wake up super early, and that's life. There we go.
That's why we like Saturdays. I like Saturdays.
Yeah. Judy Wilson said, I don't know. I don't even want to go there. She says Huff talked to Freddie Mercury. Fuck you, Steve Huff.
Oh my God.
And I'm not even going to go there.
Oh my God.
If he did, that's ridiculous. But yeah, totally. Okay. Trying to capture some momentum off of a very popular movie. It's the way it goes. That's what he does. So Betty Lange, how many centuries will a ghost stay active? Many. I mean, I think until they're done doing whatever the heck it is that they're here for. I think some kind of get lost to time and they're here lingering. I mean, you hear about Rob Guttrow was on here talking about how like he can verify excuse me, that Catherine Howard is still there in the Tower of London. That's how many hundreds of years ago. So some of them linger on for a while, some go right away. My grandfather was around until my grandmother passed away, and then they went on together somewhere. But others are still either they're trying to do something here, waiting for somebody, and maybe they didn't understand that whoever it was is gone. They want to send some sort of message, have their story told, whatever it is. Some I think are just hiding, that they're afraid of whatever is coming up next.
Right.
So. But some can linger on for hundreds of years. Yeah. What you don't get much of are ones that have been around for thousands of years. I believe there are entities out there that are thousands of years old, and certainly some non-human ones, but there might be a couple of human ones that are that old. But you don't hear about them too much.
No. I mean, just for example, Byron died in the late 1880s.
Yeah, so
he's
that's
been around
140 years or so. Yeah.
There's been some older energy than that, though. We've gotten at the cafe some Native American, words and phrases, like complete sentences and stuff like that. That goes back way back. But, it wasn't in response to anything that we were talking about. It just came out, so maybe it was residual. Maybe it was something that was said, and just played again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how it works, but...
Yeah, Kelly McCarville, a spirit doesn't have to be stuck to communicate or to be around. No, I believe that too. I mean, they might be, but I believe that many of them have free will and choice to be right here and do what they need to do. I think for a lot of them, it's a choice to stick around. I think some of them have a purpose that they. A lot of people talk about unfinished business, but it might not even necessarily be that. But there's some reason they want to be here, and so thus they are. Judy Wilson, time must not mean anything to a spirit. Yeah, that's probably one of the things that's a little bit different for a spirit than us is their concept of time. Time is a human construct that we've put together to explain our experience that we're having here on the physical plane. And since they're no longer within, they're sort of within that physical plane, but not. So we kind of speculate that time works a bit differently for them, or they experience time a little bit differently. They may even have some better knowledge of how time really is than we do. So, because I've thrown some different theories out there about time, whether they're true or not. We've talked about the stacked time theory and all that stuff. There's Einstein's space-time theories and things like that, which is actually similar, but we truly don't know how all that works. But I think they have a little bit better of an idea, at least. All right. Because that's all the, Tammy Heitzman. Yeah, what is that? Why not spirits that are thousands of years old? I think by then they've probably exhausted whatever they needed to do. I do believe in reincarnation. So at some point, they've come back around.
Yeah.
You know, John Oldsmith it's completely off topic. Did you hear that Einstein's letter to God sold for $4 million? I did not know anything about that. Bree Jones, I picture Spirit eating like a conjured meal in Harry Potter. Interesting. If you read the books, though, like the meals at the Great Hall, this is totally off topic. The meals at the Great Hall were actually truly prepared and cooked. That underneath the Great Hall is a replica Great Hall that all the house elves actually cooked and put the meals down there on those tables, and then Dumbledore just did a spell to make the food come up off those tables and into the Great Hall. It was in the books. So there you go. So Betty Lange, do you consider a ghost only a human, not an animal?
I've seen ghosts of animals. I've experienced, as have others in the same building, a ghost cat. At the place in Jacksonville, we know there was a ghost of something there, animal. You can have. I've seen cars. You know, I mean, obviously, it's not a. I wouldn't consider it a ghost. A ghost car.
Ghost car.
You know, but you know, see a car come up to an intersection and then just gone. You know, so kind of unexpected. I did find out that there was an accident back in that area where I saw it. So yeah, I had to do some quizzing, you know, some people, and had to take it back, you know, quite a ways, but eventually did find out. And so I feel like, you know, obviously it wasn't anything intelligent. I think it was just that traumatic event, you know, replaying itself as a residual haunt, residual energy, but it was still pretty cool. Unexpected. Like, I stopped. I was, whoa, you know, because I thought it was a real car. But nope. Ghost car, ghost cat, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm grabbing a question here and putting it into our little document so that I can get it here in a minute. I have seen I've heard a lot of people talk about you know, ghost cats, ghost dogs, you know, ghost animals. We've had Rob Gutrow on here talking about communication with all different types of animals, even birds and, you know, things like that. You know, personally, something that I've seen at a few different cemeteries, or some, you know, small kind of cat-sized shadow entities kind of running along the ground. And so those might be the spirit of some sort of animal, you know, or some other shadow entity. That I actually don't include it in my shadow people presentation at all.
I have one of those. Down low to the ground.
Yeah.
It just darts from point A to point B so fast, and then it just becomes part of, you know, shadow, just boom. And it's like, whoa. And it have to make you jump back. Like, what the hell, you know, but low to the ground and doesn't have features or arms or legs. It's just this foot or two long shadow, a wide, just boom. On the boat.
On the boat? Okay. Yeah, it's happened to me more at cemeteries. And so Kelly McCarville has a question. This is kind of bring us back into our ghosts or people too topic, which is good. Do you believe a spirit can form friendships with a living person? And yes, I absolutely do believe that. Hans Holzer used to say that, you know, most of his best friends were ghosts. But I know that you had a lot of relationships that you developed on the boat, like with Captain Minky and some others there.
Yeah, Captain Minky, Byron for sure.
Byron at the cafe, yeah.
And I hope to develop one with Molly at Mineral Springs.
Which I think you are. I think she's opening up more to you and revealing a little bit more about herself to you.
Yeah. She's going to be a tough one to crack, though. to find proof, of who she is and where she came from.
Well, I think that's going to probably come down to more of our investigating and our questioning, just going up there a little bit more. And this is what we're talking about, where you develop that rapport, you develop those relationships with these spirits. That trying to go in there one time and do an investigation, sure, you might be able to come away with some evidence, but you really haven't developed that relationship with the spirit to I believe get anything that's really, really conclusive. But the repeated times that we've gone up there, I mean, I believe Molly knows who you are by now, even though it's been, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 times that we've been up there. But it's gone from just having a feeling in that room to you hear your name, to the chair moves, to you getting poked or grabbed in the chair, and that energy that came bursting forth that even affected me, to now you have no idea why, but you are just breaking down crying. So I think it's, as we've gone in there and we've continued to build that relationship with her, that she has started to reveal more and more of herself to you. Right.
Yeah, I I have a lot of questions, and I'll ask a lot of questions, but her energy is pretty strong. I mean, she's a pretty significant, energy source up there in that room. And, that's a room where, some negative stuff had happened that isn't really, public knowledge, but, well, I don't know if she was a part of it or not, but a lot of people have, significant experiences up there. Some of them are uncomfortable and don't want to go in there. But, yeah, I mean, even with the things that have happened in there, I still feel really compelled, to keep going in there. And it's hard to go in there often. Otherwise I'd be in there every day. Yeah. I feel like...
And don't go in there without your stones.
Oh God, yeah. I gotta have those. You gotta have, your stones on you. I do. And I'll even, sometimes, do that. They may be like pretty colored rocks to them, but, introduce them to another part of you that maybe they may not know anything about. You can educate them too. I think that makes the things that you do, or that you do in front of them, or that you talk about, less intimidating. If, there are certain things that you can say, and there's certain ways that you can say them, that makes it more conversational.
Yeah. So, I talk about all the time about, just sharing experiences from life, that, that World War II plane that we were in years ago, that I'm getting nothing as far as a response. And yeah, this was just a one-time thing. But, we had like maybe a 5-minute spot there where we were getting some communication back and forth. And it was because I started talking a little bit more about myself and revealing my background, and that I actually had something in common, being a part of the Air Force, with the spirits that were there on the plane. And so once I revealed that little bit and just started talking, okay, I have this in common with you, they started opening up a little bit more, and we discovered, like one bit of information, that the navigator from the airplane, when it was flown during the war, was there on the plane. And so, just that little bit, share some of yourself, just like you would with anybody else. We're sitting down having a conversation, you're sharing back and forth. And while it might be a little bit more of a challenge for you to hear, or maybe get an EVP or something that gives you that information, about that spirit, that you are still able to share a little bit about yourself. And that's why I always talk about going into these places with some information about the history of the building, about the history of the people that are there, so that you have something to talk to them about, that you can relate something to them, that their ears might perk up and be like, oh, oh, he knows a little bit about me, or she knows, a bit about a topic that I enjoy. So, okay, fine. Let's go ahead and open up a little bit. I understand why psychic mediums don't want to know anything going into a location. But for regular paranormal investigators, I get that they hear stories and they believe that it will kind of like pigeonhole them to, a room in a house, and they want to be able to just freely roam and see what's there. But I will stand by that. I think you're going to get, better and more interaction out of the spirits that are there if you know more about them, because you will have something to talk to them about. If you just go in there with nothing, what are you going to talk to them about? The latest football scores? I don't know. Like, oh, hey, this is a cool house. Did you live here? I mean, duh. I mean, yeah, they probably did.
I mean, there's another, I'm still pretty sure that they're not allowed to give us all of their, answers, and they don't. So, at least not to me.
Anytime we ask about the afterlife, how does the afterlife work?
Right. So start small and get to know, the history of the venue and things or events that were happening, at its creation. The venue, whenever it was first, constructed, whenever it first came to be, get to know that time period. Because while they may not be able to answer questions about themselves, maybe they will be able to do yes or no questions about different things that were going on in the area. Like, say a building was built in like 1890 and you did some research and found out that this event happened in that building or in that area in 1890, and ask them, hey, I know that in 1890 this event happened. Were you there for that? If they say yes, they were there for that, then you can pinpoint a time to when they're from. You may not get that exact year, that exact day, or know anything else, but it's a starting point. Yeah. At least you'll know what time frame you're dealing with. At least if they say no, maybe they either came before the building or they came after that event. So you'd be like, do your research, get a block of time, and things that happen like in, before the venue was there or after the venue was there. Because sometimes you'll be talking to a spirit that's attached to the property, not the building. Or we've had that before. I've experienced that a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. So, they're not attached to that particular building, but they were attached to what was there before that. So they may not know anything at all about that building you're talking about. So, always go back, as far as you can, and, work into the questions about the people that you're talking about, that you think that you might be dealing with. Work up to that, but start somewhere you might be able to find that loophole. Well, they're not going to be able to tell me their name, maybe, or they're not going to be able to tell me anything about the afterlife, but I might find out what time period they're from, and maybe they might decide to get bold and slip a little bit of, hush-hush info, and they might get a spanking for it. But, you never know.
You never know.
You never know. Research.
Tom McNicholas says, I agree, Shana. That's what I'm doing for the prison ghost hunts. So he's talking about Joliet Prison there. Yeah, I don't know how many of you have read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. The book's been around forever. A ton of people read it for a variety of different reasons, whether it's, growing a YouTube channel, building a business, whatever. It's about interacting with people. And, there's some great examples in there of, people just sitting down at like a dinner. It's supposed to be like maybe a networking thing or whatever. And, just sitting there and asking, a personal question about, so this is, something that you enjoy, question mark. And then the person just on and on and on and on. And, it might not even necessarily be something that interests you, but you're listening and you're keeping the conversation, going back and forth a little bit. And that person is coming away from that conversation with you, even though you didn't really contribute anything, you're just a great listener, that they just had this most, wonderful conversation with you just because you listened to what they had to say. I mean, you kind of had to spur it a little bit with that little first initial piece of information. Hey, I understand this about you. And then boom, they just launched into, everything, and they feel like they had a great conversation with you. So, things like that. Ghosts are people too, work in trying to communicate with spirits. So, let's see. So Tim Schoen, are there ghosts that look after the living, i.e. a ghost nanny? So I think that would be your spirit guides, which I would say see Edge of the Rabbit Hole last episode with Kelly McCarville, which became like the spirit guide episode, which was very cool. Tom McNicholas, do you think there are more ghosts on Earth than living people? It's an interesting question, but I'm going to say no, because of reincarnation. And so, I think there are very many ghosts and spirits here, much more than we really understand or know about, and that if like that veil could be lifted, that we'd be really surprised at everybody that's around us. I think there's with the math, there are as many people living now as if you had added it all up from like year one till, and I don't know how they go about figuring that out, but more people living now than the first however many hundreds of thousands of years it's been. So no, I don't. So Betty Lange, do you think a ghost can draw a person to a historical site not to be forgotten? Yeah, I think so. To a degree. They might try to call out to you a little bit. I've had before, and I don't know if it's necessarily a spirit calling me there, but I've had before like dreams. It's my superpower. But I've had dreams of locations before that I've investigated, like years before I've actually investigated them. It's happened a couple times. And so I don't know if that was something drawing me there, or just a like glimpse at something that was going to happen in the future. So, but I think more so you can be drawn back to a location. Like you go there, sure. You have some sort, maybe not necessarily even have an experience, but that you've introduced yourself to the location, and somebody or something there at that location wants you to visit again. And so they'll be like, hey Shana, come on back.
Yeah, that happens. I can think of several instances. Vandalia is a good one.
Yeah.
Manelli Graveside is a good one.
Yeah, and that was both with you children spirits that were calling you back to each of those. So certainly. From BPG 5012 Trick. Every time you reincarnate, do you leave a ghost behind? I don't believe that. I believe your spirit is your spirit, and so when you reincarnate, you're put into a new form. I don't believe there's a form of you still sticking around here.
I think it's when you connect, or bind a spirit to yours, or bind a soul to yours, you're in reincarnation, you're supposed to recognize each other again. And you're not going to be in the same form. You're going to be in an entirely different form. So I believe once you've reincarnated, once you come back, you have to maintain some form of memory of that connection.
Yeah, I've had at least one glimpse that I know of for sure of a past life. And it was a past death. So that is stuck with me. So I think once we've passed that, we'll obtain that knowledge again of all of our past lives, but I think we're kind of stuck in this one right now. But yeah, I don't think that there's a part of you that stays. You might have something happen where a place is familiar to you because you had your past life also brought you to that location. So that'll be like when you have like a deja vu moment or something like that. Like, I feel like I've been here before, even though there's like no possible way in your current life that you could have ever possibly been there. that, that might be a past life that you're, connecting with. So, we were kind of talking a little bit about it when we had Marla Brooks on, that, it could be that some of these places that we want to go to, like Ireland, Scotland, places like that, that maybe we had a past life that existed in one of those locations. And so we're kind of being called back unknowingly to there just because our soul within is familiar with it.
I believe that for sure. I believe there's going to be a lot of deja vu moments over there.
Yeah, for certain. Yeah, and even just, having had ancestors from over there, I'm sure some of that's going to be calling out too. So and that's a whole different that's a whole different realm there. We're going to start talking about that type of stuff. So Judy Wilson, do you think spirits are stuck, or do you think they can leave whenever they want to? I think some do get stuck. Or
Kelly?
Yeah, Kelly?
I think maybe ghosts are one thing, and then spirit is entirely another.
It ends up bringing up that debate, and this actually happened to me. You were at work, so you didn't hear the interview that I had the other night, but it brings up that whole debate about crossing spirits over. And so the person that was interviewing me was saying that they just cross everybody over because that person might be stuck. And it's like, well, they might not be, and they might have a reason to be here. But it does bring up that debate of like, what if the spirit is stuck and they don't know how to cross over? I don't know. I'd like to think that when we pass, we kind of inherently know that I need to do this. If I want to move on, this is what I need to do, whether that's that light that everybody talks about or whatever. But you're kind of like, but I need to stick around here for a while. There's something I still need to do. Maybe I need to wait for somebody, or want to wait for somebody, or there's something that you always wanted to find out, or there's a message you wanted to deliver, whatever it is. And I don't know if maybe they just kind of forget along the way. They've been hanging out so long, waiting for something to happen, waiting for whatever it is that they're trying to do to happen, that they just forget. And so therefore they get stuck.
I think it's a mix of that, and I think karma has a big part in it too. I hope that if you're an asshole in life, that you get punished before you get to move on, or you get stuck, reaping what you've sown. So I kind of hope that's true. I maybe that's bad, maybe it's not bad. I don't know. I don't really care. I just know how I feel. I feel like if you were an asshole in life, then you should be treated like one in the afterlife until you've learned your lesson and realize, oh, hey, I shouldn't have done that. I see that now. I think that's the way it ought to be.
Kelly says, once they process through their review, they find their peace. So I don't know if if she's referring to some sort of review process that we're supposed to go through. I don't know. It reminds me, and I've brought the movie up here before on this channel, Defending Your Life, where basically you end up in a courtroom and you're reviewing some segments of your life, and they gotta pass or fail you, and like if you fail, you're going back down to earth. If you pass, you go on somewhere. I don't know. All right. So let's see. We kind of talked about this a little bit before. Tim Shona, have you ever been drawn to a new location by spirits with whom you've established a bond?
I've been drawn to new places that I haven't been to before with spirits that I have no idea even existed, much less the building.
Okay.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
And I Google it. When I wake up, it's like, oh my God, that place exists.
Yeah.
I did not know. I did not know, and it looked exactly like it did in my dream, yet I had never physically been there in this life.
Yeah, and the issue with that is just I guess they're saying like a lot of vagrants or something hang out there, so it's just not safe.
Yeah, and there are some buildings that are no longer standing. There's others were used for other things, but I guess there's one still original part. It's just not safe to be in.
Yeah.
But I feel like I should still go to the property.
That one, yeah.
Steve, if you're watching, Steve is the one that lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Betty Lingy, before you reincarnate Mike and Shana, what spirit would you want to meet? It's almost kind of like, what celeb would you like to meet before you go on?
Am I getting to spend time with somebody that I knew, or are we talking about, the spirit of somebody that I didn't actually know personally? Because I can think of a few that I'd like to have back.
Yeah.
I
mean, I would say, my grandparents, but I know they've passed on. My uncle, maybe, I know he's still around because he still visits from time to time. So I don't know. That's kind of a tough one. I don't have like this bucket list of celebs that I would like to meet or whatever, people that I've just got. I have to absolutely talk to. Or
I'd kind of like to have a personal concert in the living room with Freddie Mercury. I don't know about you, but I would love to have that. Oh my gosh, are you kidding? Yeah.
Okay, there you go. There's hers.
There's my. It's like, oh, I'd love to just sing to me. Just let me experience, because I didn't get to do it. I've never seen Queen live, so not with Freddie Mercury, and I feel like I really missed out. So I would like to do that.
Well, there's one way you can do that. Just call Steve up. Freddie will sing to you through his wonder box, apparently.
Tell him to hum a few bars for me.
Right. There's Judy Wilson. Ask Steve Huff. Yeah. Asshole. Okay. So yeah, I just don't. I never. I guess I just don't get that. I don't know. As far as, because I was actually asked on a show, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, like if there's like, if there's one celebrity you could meet, there's kind of like, those five random questions that we just ask our, guests when they come on.
Oh, and that was Charla and...
No, it was a different show.
Oh, another one I was going to say, because they had some good ones.
They had some good ones, but no, this was a different show, but they did a similar thing, yeah. And that was one of them, like, and I'm sitting there like, I have no idea. I don't get fanboyitis. So it just... I did throw down, I was like, okay, Nikki Sixx and David Ortiz, because I had to answer something. So in any case, I don't know if you guys have any other questions here, but yeah, so I mean I think that kind of sums it up as far as, ghosts are people too. Just, when you're experiencing haunting or you're investigating, that's kind of more the primary aspect that we're taking, is while you're investigating, remember that who you're trying to interact with, are people. You just don't see them with a physical body anymore. I mean, some people do as like an apparition or in their mind's eye or whatever, but they don't have the flesh and bones anymore. But they're still people.
Right.
They still have their likes and dislikes and their personality and their passions and all of that. Maybe a little different now being on the other side, but they're still people, All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up on time for once this evening. We usually end up going like a lot longer, but I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So let's go ahead and get down to the shout outs. We want to thank Donna Gorton for Cheshire catting the chat. Really do appreciate that. Let's see, Kelly McCarville, who we had on Edge of the Rabbit Hole. Thank you, Kelly, for joining us in our second show as well. There's Bree Jones. Bree, I do have to get back with you on some of the things that you noticed on the Mineral Springs video. So haven't forgotten you there. Christine Jones, thanks for joining us this evening. Greg Renkin, thank you as well. There's Shay Carroll. Thank you very much, Shay. Appreciate you being with us. Betty Lange, thank you for all the questions this evening. Excuse me. Sharon Lane, thank you so much. She says, love all the Scots. Awesome. Jen Corgus, thanks for joining us tonight. Hagland, thank you as well. Always appreciated. There's Andrew Cox, one of our Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. So Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons are Tom McNicholas, B3 Airspace, Zippy Davis, BD Flint, Joe Chandler, and Andrew Cox. So thank you all very much. I know Tom McNicholas is down in here too. So thank you, Tom, for joining us tonight. There's Judy Wilson had a bunch of questions too. Thank you, Judy. There's B3 Airspace. Thank you very much as well. Sean Oldsmith, thanks for hanging out for both shows. I do appreciate that. I know X Group Home Kid already took off a little bit ago. Pat Kraft, thanks for joining us tonight. Kathy Ciliento, thank you for joining us for both shows as well. Paranormal World Investigators, thanks for hanging out tonight and also for your questions.
Speak up, lurkers.
Yeah, lurkers, speak up.
Here's your chance to get your shout out. Adam Tillery.
Yeah. BPG 5012 Trick, thanks for joining us tonight. All right, I'm going to go ahead and scroll back down and see who else is throwing in their name here at the very end. And yeah, Tim Schoen, thank you. PSPR Paranormal Pursuit is still in the house. Awesome. Thank you very much. And yeah, see, there's Tillery right there. He put the little
the eyes.
Yeah, he's got the eyes going. It's got the little magnifying glass. Yeah. Awesome. Very, very cool. All right, Tammy Heitzman. Yep, there we go, Tammy. Cool. All right, so I guess that will about do it. Just hey, you guys got any? If you want any Christmas merch, of course, we still have. Actually, I have one ghosty left. One ghosty left. That's it. I'm gonna have to order some more. So there's one ghosty left. We still have the coffee though. Haunted Road Roast. It helps you hunt ghosts.
You know, we really should be doing some Where's Ghosty photos in the snow.
We should. And
yes, he's got some good camo being all white.
Yeah. And of course, on Spreadshirt. So shop.spreadshirt.com/haunted-road-media. We have all the t-shirts, hoodies, hats, all that stuff. We'll be getting beanies up there soon.
Hope.
Soon.
Yeah, those hoodies are warm, you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like really warm. Like you go somewhere, like if I layer, so I wear like a t-shirt and I wear another shirt and then I wear that hoodie. I don't need a coat. Yeah. That thing is warm.
And the Haunted Explorers too, down there. Very cool. All right, everybody. Yeah, I think that will about do it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. And we will see you all back here next Tuesday for the live stream shows. Of course, we have more Friday Night Ghost Frights coming up at the end of this week. And I'm actually going to throw a separate Mike's Morning mug out there here over the next couple days. So, yeah, Tom McNicholas likes his ball caps. Says the ball caps are cool. Yep. Adam Tillery says, my line of Tilleries come from Aberdeen for all the Scott talk. Very cool. So I'm Clan Grant, Loch Ness area. So there is a Castle Grant out there. So.
I don't know. I don't know if any of my lineage went back that far or not. I don't know what I got. You're
mostly German anyway.
I'm mostly German.
Yeah.
But I feel like some of my other lives have been back there. I know I'm going to see a fairy. It's going to happen.
I'm going to see a fairy.
I'm going to see another one. It's going to happen.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great night. And we will see you all soon. Take care.